Alright, at this time we're going to play with some random numbers. I've already thrown a couple of things on here. I've got a button that just says random. Well, we're dealing with random numbers and if statements in this case. The text is random, the name is button random. See that over here. Then I just have a label that's label rand output. Now what's going to happen is when we click on this button, it's going to run a random number generator, and then it's going to print something on the label. So, dim, I should probably bring up the magnifier. Here we go, so we can see it a little better. Alright, dim, I'll just call it rand as new random. And when I click this button, it will create this random. So, what we're going to do is r as new integer, and I'm just going to have an extra thing hold it. So, r equals, in this case, rand.next, and I want a range of 0, let's say 3. So, this should give me 0, 1, and 2. 1, 2. Basically, 0 is going to be the first number it pulls randomly. 1, 2, and then this 3, it never actually hits 3. It will just be 1 less than that. So, if r equals 0, then, and it's r, not random. Alright, he's filling stuff in. R. There you go. Well, then that label that I've got, right, LBL output dot text equals you are a big 0. And then we'll just else if r equals 1, then same thing. And this is where copy and paste can be very helpful. You are number 1. And at this point, there's only going to be 3 outcomes here. 0, 1, or 2. I can put an else, and it'll always go to 2. I can say else if, r equals 2. Then, not random, r. Stop filling stuff out for me. There we go. Now, in this case, 0, 1, and 2, it will always hit them. In this particular instance, it'll never hit any other number because I did not tell it to. It's never going to be -1 or 5 or 10 because that's exactly what I wrote up here. Let's see here. Who does number 2 work for? Though whenever you have an if, else if, it's pretty much customary to have an else in this case. And I'm just going to go ahead and have one here just for argument's sake. We'll make a few changes here later, but this should never ever hit, at least as it is now. How did this happen? Alright, so when I click a button, it's going to randomly get a number, 0, 1, or 2, and based on that number, it will run through these ifs. It'll do them, it'll check to see if it's 0, it'll check to see if it's 1, 2. If it's any other number other than those, it'll run this. So, we hit our run, and of course, I am most likely going to have to suffer with my virus scanner complaining. Bum, 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 bum. Yes, I should just go in and tell it to ignore anything running for this folders. But, oh, there it goes. Good news. Yes, it's good. So if I click it, I'm number 1. So obviously it picked number 1, 0, 1, 1, 2, 0, 1. So I can click this a number of times here, and what you're going to see is it's never going to hit that else there, because it's always going to be 0, 1, or 2. Now, if I were to go in here and change this code, let's say make that a 4, now it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So what ends up happening is 0, 1, 2, and 3 would end up going here. Now, if I made that 10, that means 0, 1, 2, and every other number would go here. The else is essentially the catch-all. If it's not any of the other things listed on this list, it goes here. And it's always good to have that else just in case something weird happens. Especially when you're in a large, ginormous project that multiple people are working on. But now I have that else. How did this happen? Oh, it hit 4 pretty quickly. But it's still going to hit those others. But now I've got one more number thrown in the mix. Let's see if I can get it again. There we go. Like so. And that's just a little bit of random number generation, along with a couple of ifs, just for a little extra practice.